paints your noose like an old man. He's got you thinking about your death and you are frightened.
Hi to everyone. Today we are at Alex from Immolation, and it's a really huge pleasure to have you with us. So let's say start straight to the first question, and of course it's the most common one. That is like speak a little bit about the historical band Immolation.
Speak about what?
Historical band Immolation.
Oh, starting the band. Well, I'm the last person to join the band, but
Yeah.
the band was formed in, I think, February of 1988. And the band was formed by Robert Vinya and Ross Dolan. And
Yeah.
the band was formed out of the ashes of Bob's previous band, which was Rigor Mortis. And they were around from 86 to 88.
Yes.
So, yeah, the band's been going, and I've been friends with the band since the beginning, because we all
Yeah.
out in the early death metal scene back then. So when there was only maybe 5 bands,
You were there.
in our area, yeah. So yeah, the band's first record came out in '91, and fast forward 32 years later, we're still here.
This is what I mean. It's impressive, and from from New York City, Immolation is the band which we can say with the most important career, but which is the different from the other band of like for example the Floridian death metal.
Brazilian,
The Floridian ones.
Florida.
Florida. Yeah.
Well, very different. I think our style of death metal was more focused on the darkness and the atmosphere in the music. Florida bands, I think, were more kind of thrashy kind of stuff. And for what we were doing, we were, Immolation, Incantation, Agoraphobia. We were, more on the darker side, I think.
Yes, and
we were more influenced, I guess, like you were talking earlier about Bathory and Celtic Frost, things like that, more on the blacker, darker side.
Yeah. You mentioned before that the band changed the name from Rigor Mortis to Immolation. Do you know why this change?
Yeah, because the main guy in Rigor Mortis, his name was Andrew Sakowitz, and Andrew was kind of, the leader of the band, and I think he just didn't want to do it anymore. So Bob continued, on with, the spirit of Rigor Mortis and into Immolation. So, but there's also a difference because Andrew was more the main songwriter in Rigor Mortis. Robert, he contributed, but not as much, I think, musically. So you definitely hear the difference when you listen to Rigor Mortis and you listen to Immolation. The Immolation stuff is more progressive and darker riffs. Rigor Mortis more primitive,
Yes, and the band changed. This change of lineup of the band brought some difference in a change, we can say, in a composition and songwriting.
Yeah, well, I think Bob is the main songwriter of Immolation, and I think there was a lot of different influences in there, like the progressiveness of metal, like Iron Maiden and Merciful Fate, things like that, with the more heavy darkness of Celtic Frost and Possessed and things like that. So I think it was a combination of a lot of those influences, and bringing that into the heavy death metal. More, and also a lot of dissonance in the music, a lot of atmosphere, and that's one of the main focuses is the darkness in the atmosphere of the music.
Yes, Immolation released like 10 albums, if I'm not wrong.
10 albums.
Yes, there is an album that I mean can represent most the sound of the band.
Hmm. Is there an album that doesn't represent the sound of the band?
Mostly, yes.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just been a musical evolution. There's
Hmm.
the roots has always been there of the band, um,
Yes,
but I think there's been a musical evolution over time, over each record. It kind of shows where the band is at that present time. But
yes,
I think uh, for a lot of bands that started at the same time we all did, a lot of bands drifted off, in
yeah,
territories where we, you know, like I said, we keep the roots of the band, but we still try to bring new things to the music on
yes.
every
And
record.
with you joining the band, so with the change of guitarist, there is a new influences. I mean, there is new influences on the sound.
Well, I mean, I think the musical influences are still the same from the early days, the early
Yeah,
black death metal stuff. But there's a lot of different influences in that. There's like bands like Depeche Mode and things like that.
yeah.
That is a big influence in non-metal, stuff. And I think I could speak for myself
Hmm.
and Bob as well, and Ross, that probably the stuff that influences us more over the last 25, 30 years is non-metal music.
Yes,
But we all grew up before there was metal too. We grew up in rock
yes.
in the 70s and stuff. So
That's amazing. Of course, of course. I
yeah,
mean that there was the music at the time
yeah.
because
So for me
you were the first.
for me personally, my favorite music is still the music I grew up with, which is like 70s hard rock, early 80s heavy metal,
Yes, yes,
and punk and new wave music, all kinds of stuff.
yes. So I mean, Alex, you joined Immolation with the last album, Atonement. Did you bring new ideas in that albums?
No, no. That record was written already by the time I
Okay.
was in the band, but it was already finished, so I came in later. But for the new record, you'll hear some of my ideas for the new one we're working on now. So we have 10 songs
Uh,
right.
already written,
Oh yeah,
recorded.
yeah, 10
That's
songs.
amazing.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue writing. So the plan is that hopefully we get this first record done, and then
Hmm.
we already have music for another record after that. So that's the
That's
plan.
amazing.
We're stuck. We're stuck
That's,
right now.
I mean, that's amazing
So
because you are a lot of material ready
yeah,
for the future. That's amazing.
yeah. So we're gonna just try to be as productive as possible.
And for you personally, which album is your favorite of Immolation before you joined the band?
Oh. Uh, well, I could say the first record, Dawn of Possession, because the songs on that album were all the early stuff, the demo songs
Yeah.
that how I first got into the band. The first demo. It's still my favorite. um, I don't know. The, I would say it's a toss between Dawn of Possession and Closer to a World Below. I like a lot, and also Harnessing Ruin, which I think the music is an amazing record. It's just the production was not there. But,
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And in songwriting, for you, speaking about for Alex,
mhm.
which inspires you? Who inspires you?
Writing music,
Yeah, for you.
it could be anything. I could watch, just being outdoors, in nature, or I could, watch a movie, or I don't know. It's hard to say because
Yes, sure.
inspiration comes all the time, and it
Yeah,
comes at the strangest times where you just have that magic or whatever that flows through you that makes you want to pick up the guitar. Um, so usually for me, it's in the morning. I get up, I like to have coffee, look
so
outside,
and then you have the inspiration.
yeah, and then I pick up the guitar and I start writing.
That's amazing. Like the breakfast inspiration, a breakfast
Yeah.
inspiration. That's amazing. And how do you see the contemporary death metal scene? And which is the difference from the oldest one?
Well, I think for the most part, there's a lot of new bands, a lot of younger
Yeah.
bands, which is great. Um, but I don't see the same originality in the
Yeah.
band. Most of them just copy the music we did 30
Like,
years ago. Um, so
yeah.
during in the early days, I think more of the bands had more of the were more individuals. They
Yeah.
had their own sound, their own vision, and for me as a musician, I never wanted to copy any of my influences. I just wanted to create my own world,
Like,
my own
yeah.
voice in music. So I think a lot of the bands just focus on copying. Uh,
Oh, yes. In fact, most of the time they say that they are inspired by all that metal. So,
yeah, and that's great, but for me personally, I'd rather see more bands taking chances and trying
yeah.
new things, So, but there's some really good bands out there for sure.
Yes. And speaking about influences, which bands that we spoke about earlier influenced most in Immolation?
Um, I would say a lot of the early stuff like Possessed,
Yeah.
uh, early Metallica, Merciful Fate, early Slayer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Celtic Frost,
Because you are like almost contemporary band metal, so
Yeah, early Voivod, things like that.
yes.
It's all part of in the beginning of the band, and for me too at the same time.
And
They,
for you, I mean, speaking about for you as musician, as guitarist,
mm-hmm.
your personal influences.
Well, my favorite band is Pink Floyd. So
Always amazing.
Pink Floyd is probably one of my biggest musical influences.
Yeah.
I like a lot of stuff, it's Rainbow, Deep Purple, all the classic stuff, Black
Yeah,
Sabbath.
hard rock,
Yeah, yeah.
70s. Yeah,
UFO, Scorpions, Michael Schenker, um,
amazing music.
Merciful Fate, Celtic
That's
Frost,
true.
Bathory, Voivod, Slayer,
Yeah,
Metallica, things like that, and a lot of other stuff, type of music like the Depeche Mode, and
oh,
I like a lot of new wave music like Susie and the Banshees, early Cult.
Six in the Benches, the dark, we can say like
Yeah,
the darkest rock music, the
yeah,
darkest
yeah.
period
And
of the 80s.
Yeah, and music and others like singer songwriters like PJ Harvey.
She's
Art,
amazing. She's amazing. I agree with you. She's
yeah.
amazing. And media, this is an answer that I'm reporting from the media, say
Hmm.
that immolation, together with suffocation, mortician, and incantation, are like the big four of death metal. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
Um. Well, I think the four bands you just mentioned were the first in that area to do what we were doing, and all four bands have their own unique sound,
Yeah.
uh, which is great, But um, yeah, I'll take it as a compliment if people think that. So, um, but yeah, and we're all four bands are all still going strong after all these
Yeah,
years.
for sure. Before speaking the future plans, speaking at least, just change a little type of questions.
Hmm.
So now you will do my work. So we change the position. If you have a plan to, if you have the chance to plan a tour, in which country will you go, and which band you take with you?
Um, hmm, that's a very difficult question.
You can choose even one band. It's not supposed to be a huge lineup.
Well, I do love Europe, all Europe, and it's hard to say what country I like the
Yeah.
best. Poland, I have a lot of friends in Poland, so it's always nice to go, to Poland, and also our road crew, our booking agency is from Poland, so that has a special place for us. Hmm, if I was to tour another band that's a hard question because there's so many good friends of ours that we've toured with.
We will save that for the next questions. Just bring one band you want into with you. You would like to have
Well,
into with you.
it'll probably never happen, but I would love to tour with Iron Maiden.
Oh my god. Two different
I
sounds,
don't
but
think that'll happen.
that's the things that I love most when there are these gigs or festivals where so many different type of music and
Yes,
metal, from the heavy metal to grindcore, and you can just choose. You
that's
have
great. Yeah,
yeah, this
that's
is beautiful. And
yeah.
speaking about
I like
fest,
to tour with different bands, and I like to
yeah,
play with different variety bands, not just death metal bands. And I think it's good when you have a tour package that there's some variety. Like we toured with Mayhem and Black Anvil in the States, and all three bands are very dark bands, but all very different.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
we're speaking about Mayhem.
yeah.
They are
So
the pure darkness. So
yeah,
yeah,
but it worked very well because we're all different. We all have our own, you know,
type
very
of
dark.
different darkness.
Yeah. So I think for the fans that came out for that tour, I think it was probably pretty special to see the lineup.
Uh,
You know,
it's amazing. And
diversity.
now you are the organizer of a festival. So now you can just choose all the band you want for bring a lineup.
My choice. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
your
that would be all
choice.
the classics. That would be like Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Merciful Fate, Celtic Frost, Bathory, if that was able to, Voivod, you know.
It would be like we said before, all type of different music. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Michael Schenker. I'd have Ingve.
Now we go on more specific questions that you have to pick up 5 albums or song or musician that formed you as a human being, not as a musician, that formed you since you were a kid, since you started to listen music, you can say.
Um, well, I'd have to say Tony Iommi. I'll mention guitar players. So Tony
Okay, sure.
Iommi, um, Randy Rhoads, A.K. Downing, um, the Michael Denner,
Yeah.
and, how many did I name? 4. Dave Gilmour.
David Gilmour, of course, the Pink Floyd, and during I mean, you read a lot. There is a specific moment of some tours, some memories that you have in particular touring in your own life that you remember mostly. It could be funny moment or just even a moving moment. It says to be for funny moment.
Yeah. Well, for me, touring is such a normal thing. So
Yeah, you
it's
are
not
getting used to it.
it's not the same as when you were when you first start, to travel.
Yeah.
So for me, a standout moment for me was in October 1990, and it was the
Yes.
first underground death metal festival here in the United States. It was called Day of Death, and it was in Buffalo, New York. So the festival was Autopsy, Cannibal Corpse, Immolation, Suffocation, my old band, Goraphobia,
We will
Repulsion.
get to that now.
So
Yeah.
many bands, Deceased. Who else played? I think I said Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Yes, it was the first time that a lot of us all met each other in person because we all were tape traders and used to write
Yes.
letters to each other. So for me, that was one thing that sticks out was all of us meeting and playing this
Yes.
festival because things were very new back in
Yeah.
those days, and
Yeah. Sure.
so even Jeff from Carcass flew out. He came out
Amazing.
to the show, and so it was cool that we all got to meet each other, in person.
Yes,
For
this is
a
supposed to
lot
be
of that.
amazing.
We
Like,
all knew each other from writing letters and trading our demos.
that's amazing.
So that sticks out. for me is a really cool memory because when you're young, the first time you experience things and you travel and all
Yeah.
that stuff that sticks with you the most. Now it's just normal
Yeah,
being in
it's a normal
airport
routine.
and
This is
going
it.
everywhere.
You are used to just moving around the world.
Yeah, but
And
I still love it. I love it. I love
yeah,
playing live. I love meeting people, experiencing
yeah.
different cultures. It's amazing.
And you speak about before agoraphobia, your other project. What could you tell about that?
Well, my old band was Gorephobia, and we started in June 1988, and we
Yeah.
were around for a few years, and we got back together in the 2000s. We did a few albums and did some touring and stuff. But, it's no longer, we're no
Ah,
longer around. But
you have other project.
yes, I have a new band called Shadows, and we just signed a record deal with Agonia Records out of Poland.
Right.
And that is something different. It's not death metal. It's like a more kind of avant-garde dark metal
Yeah.
rock kind of thing. So we
All
recorded,
the.
yeah, we recorded an EP,
Mhm.
and
That's right.
we were uh, we were going to record a full length. We start in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, that's great too. So we have
yeah,
a chance to see this new band soon on the stage
yeah,
when
yeah,
it will be allowed, of course.
yeah, yeah. Hopefully sometime next year because
Right now it's
we have to
impossible.
be
So
realistic. Things. But I have
last question.
another project too. Definitely.
Also, you have another project? How
Yeah,
many projects do you have?
I have four right now.
Oh, wow, wow. I want to know the other one now.
Well, the other one has no name. That's myself and Jim Roll, the old
Okay.
Incantation and Agoraphobia drummer. He's playing.
Yes.
So we're writing some songs now, and that's like a death metal, project.
Yeah.
And then I have another project called Eternus, which is like heavy metal, like
Oh,
you know,
that's,
old school kind of heavy metal. It's kind of Black Sabbath with kind of Queensryche kind of vocals.
it's
So
completely different. But it's
yeah,
amazing because all the biggest pillar of music, of course, the oldest band are these incredible way of being versatile, like
yeah,
can play a lot of things. Because of course, even new band can do this, but I saw them more focused on playing only that type of music.
yeah. I like to do as a musician. I like to express myself in different ways. So
Yeah, but this
you know,
is
I
how a
need to have
musician should
other
be.
outlets.
Yeah, yes. And we can say this is the last questions. The future plans of back to Immolation. Return to Immolation.
The future plans is that we're going to record a new
Yeah.
album, and we, the album should be out sometime next year,
We hope.
um, and hopefully we can get back to touring, mid
Can't
next
wait.
year. So obviously we can't say when because we really don't know how things are. So we have
Yes.
no control over the situation, and we
No.
will be out there. But it's also been nice to be home and spend time with family and things like that. So
Of course. And even if I mean your side, even your own self, it's a good
yeah,
time because we never at the time to spend time alone just with our thoughts because
yeah,
just a new idea, new object can show up, and I think it's a good thing. But of course, for people who works, we need to get out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
hopefully things start really getting better, and I'm hopeful they will.
Yes, me too. I'm positive. And if you have to just right now leave a message for Immolation, the ex agoraphobia fan, and still agoraphobia fan, I think, and you're personally fan and our followers, just a message to them.
Well, first I want to thank you for your
It's a
interview.
pleasure.
Thank you
It's a
for your
pleasure and
support.
an honor.
And well, as far as all the Immolation fans, we hope to see you guys all next year. We have a new album in the works, and I promise you we will deliver on the new record for sure.
Can't wait.
And we just can't wait to see everybody next year. And yeah, and look out for some of my other projects, my band Shadows. Look out for that as well. And yeah, I just hope everybody's safe, healthy, and hope to see you all soon.
Me too. I have to see you in some gigs, and still, I love the flag behind you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you soon. Always stay safe. Bye.
Cheers.
You can't refuse what the old man whispered to the preacher during the sermon. He's a saint to the fools of the old land, but we can see straight through the tricks that he is turning. He'll speak, but you gotta